Hi, got your cup of tea? If you haven't, just press pause on the video. You can't, can you? I'm live. Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go. Right, so I'm going to start with a little disclaimer, and that everything that I talk about in my lives are of my opinion. Any medical staff, I am not trained, I'm not a doctor, nurse, or anything like that. I won't be giving ideas on what to do, how to help in that respect, but the information that I've gleaned through my own research, I will share where I've got the information from. So this morning, why have I gone live? Well, it was one of those days that I woke up and just thought to myself, what's going on with you? I literally struggled to get out of bed this morning, as most people that suffer with the things that I go through will probably share with me and understand a lot better. So type 2 diabetes, that's one of the things that I've struggled with since 1999. And I got to a space not so long ago where, and I've said this in a video before, I thought that I was going to die before I was 65. I just kept getting this thing that just kept coming into my mind about 65, 65. And I generally go a lot with my intuition. And if I didn't do something about my life, I just thought, well, that's it. I'm 62. I've got 3 years. And I looked in the mirror this morning, and if my hair had personality, I would say it had attitude. So I can't even do anything with that. So basically, just to sit, have a cup of tea and a chat about self-sabotaging and why it happens. Why has it happened? Because back in June 4th of this year, I actually had that in my mind that I needed to do something with my life. And I got up the next day. I decided that was it. I wasn't going to eat things that affected my blood sugar levels. I have a lovely friend, I've mentioned her in previous videos, Penny, who has having gone through cancer and all that sort of thing herself. So she's put me in front of people like Natasha. I think it's, hang on a minute, let me have a look. Gut and Physiology Syndrome by Dr. Natasha Campbell something. I can't remember her last name. I'll get the book down later. So I waffle. Self-sabotaging comes with like a sod it factor. There's times when I've sat down and think to myself, why am I doing it? And what I've come up with is when things don't go right, I've spent at least 16 weeks plus from the 4th of June, and things were going really, really well. I started at 19 stone, and this wasn't being done for weight loss. This was to do with feeding my body what it requires to survive. And again, I started at 19 stone, and over those 16 weeks, I was at the point that I'd hit 16 stone. So I'd lost 3 stone during that process. And that was literally looking at the keto way of eating, also carnivore. And I did go down the carnivore road for quite some time, but I didn't leave out the like the green vegetables, the broccoli, the sprouts, the cabbage, and that sort of thing. If I was going to have meat, I'd have those veg with it and everything like that. And like I said, this is not a way to behave yourself. You need to research what your body is like, how it behaves, what it responds to if you've got a glucose monitor or one of the ones that you put on your arm. And I know through experience that the GP surgery generally only allow you 1, possibly 2 of those, and you can buy them on Amazon. I have no affiliate links. I don't do paid promotions because I've not been on YouTube long enough. So what I share for free. So what got me started was YouTube channel with Jason Fung, and he's got a book called The Diabetes Code. And I have read that from cover to cover. So I do have a better understanding about how diabetes works. And instead of using diabetes, it should be called insulin resistance, because there are a lot of people out there that aren't diagnosed with diabetes. I can't speak today. But what they have is insulin resistance, which actually causes things like weight gain, and all the other bits and pieces that come with it. So why was I worried? My blood sugar levels was going up. My reason for wanting to do something about it is because I have neuropathy in my feet. My right eye, I have that injected every 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how it's behaving. So all of these things actually contribute to ill health, and all that's causing it is all the processed foods and everything like that that we've been brought up with, and how we've been in that space of gaining addictions to sugar and things like that. And there are many people out there that I can speak to about this, and they're not interested in dropping the bread, dropping the cakes, dropping the chocolate, and all that sort of thing. And there are people out there that will look up and say, "Oh, but you don't need to, as long as you do this and you do that, and everything's okay." Well, if you're in the space that I'm in, where I feel that if I continue that journey, then I'm not going to be able to keep my toes. My dad's already lost one of his. I don't want any amputations. I've had a heart attack at the age of 58, which was to do with the buildup of all the plaque and everything that you get in your arteries. And I've had 2 stents fitted. So this is my journey, or this has been my journey since I was, how old was I? I was born in 63 and it was 1999. So it's 26 years. I was 26 years when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And my attitude that I actually had was that, I wasn't going to go on medication. I didn't need medication. I could do it myself. And my then diabetic nurse would actually say to me, "It's not now, Donna. It's going to be 10 years down the road when you're going to start seeing the effects of what this can do to you if you don't do anything about it. And the best way is for you to actually go on metformin." So metformin came along, and there was tablets that I would be put on. I can't remember the names now, but you eat them, you take them, and you eat a donut, and you end up sitting on the toilet. You can't move away from the house. So not very nice stuff to go through. And I found over the years that my body doesn't tolerate chemicals. Loves sugar, but put a chemical in my body and that's it. I can't move away from the house. So I did struggle, and then I had to find my level of medication, what I could take and what I couldn't take, and work with it like that. I ballooned to 24 stone before I actually took notice of the fact that I do need to go on medication. And there's been a couple of times in my life where I've actually had that, and it was last year where I went to the doctors and I was told that, "I don't think you realise, Donna, that you're not a very well woman, and we want you, or would like you, to go on insulin because you'll never be forced." And I fought going on insulin for quite some time, and I managed to get my head around it, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to do this. So I went on the insulin. I had a glucose monitor on my arm, so I was able to watch it come down, which was great. It was doing all the right things, but I wasn't feeling very well. I just couldn't be bothered to go out for a walk. My weight was going on, and I just didn't understand it. So that's when the decision came in June that I needed to do something. And the way that I ate brought my blood sugar levels down a lot lower than I could have actually dreamed. My blood sugar level was 3 at one point, and I was working along with the diabetic nurse and saying, "Look, what medication can I drop? I want to stop the insulin." So the insulin was being reduced, the glycoside was being reduced, the metformin stopped, and I was able to sort of like level everything at that point. And then I thought, this is great. My blood sugar levels are really low. I don't need the medication. And I gradually came off it. And after about 16 weeks, I was on no medication. I felt great. And I kept going with what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, my blood sugar levels started to go high. And I was getting upset, I was getting despondent, and I thought, everything that I'm doing, I felt was right. And at the end of the day, it just wasn't working. So I decided that I would go back to having, some of the medication. So I went back on glycoside. So I'm back on that twice a day. I should be taking metformin. I haven't got it yet. I am not going to take insulin. I refuse to take it. That's my way, and I'm not forcing or saying that it is your way. If that's what you're doing. And I know that I've waffled a bit now, but the actual turning point for me was I got up this morning, my hair just won't do anything. I'm kind of like losing it by the handfuls. My energy is really, really low. I feel well, and that's the thing that I keep holding on to, the fact that I do feel well. So let's get back on the scales. I hadn't stood on the scales for quite some time, and because I was happy that I was at 16 stone, I didn't want to go any lighter for a minute. So I stood on the scales and I've put 10 pounds on, and I've not been that great. I haven't eaten the right stuff, and that was where the self-sabotaging was coming in. Because I couldn't get my blood sugar levels down, then why should I bother? That was my sort of factor. And then I thought, right, I need to measure my blood sugar levels, even though I'm taking the glycoside twice a day. I need to check. So it would have been probably about maybe 13 hours since I'd eaten last, and it was 14.8. So not happy. And it's one of those things that I had to reset, sort of like have this reset mindset. I need to get back on track with just putting into my body what it needs to survive, and right the way down to those 70 trillion cells that everything that you put in your body, it affects. If you eat seed oils, I've had some research that I've looked into about those sort of things. Those seed oils can actually coat every single one of those trillion cells and doesn't allow your nutrients to be absorbed. And, it takes 65 days to get that out of the system. So, I've been going into what do you want to call them without actually saying the name? Fast food place, where I can get like 4 little chicken strips and some breaded 4 pieces of cheese, which is mozzarella and something, which is very tasty, very nice, but you can't guarantee what they're being, cooked in. So I think I'm eating sensibly, because it's only a little bit of food, and I only eat little and often because that's how I tend to manage. Or I'll go all day and then I'll have a meal in the evening, which is totally wrong. But as long as I can get into that fasting regime that I was in before, where I went 14 to 16 hours, like if I stopped eating at 6 o'clock at night, I wouldn't eat until, was it 10 or 11? I can't work it out in a minute. So I was doing that sort of thing. A lot for your mind to take on, and for the way that I live. Sometimes it doesn't suit my lifestyle. So it's all of that planning, all of that work that you actually have to put in, and being mindful about eating for your body to survive, which was what we did as ancestors all those years ago before supermarkets came into play. So this is just me being honest. There's no shame. And I know from experience at 62 that, we can start over and we can start again. So if you're struggling with weight issues, blood sugar level, sorry, you will see me on a day when I can be in that right space and talking properly. But at least I'm not AI. I'm real. I'm being honest. There you go. What more can you get? So the other reason I've gone live today is because I want to build a community. And I know there's a lot of people out there starting YouTube, and apparently it's the thing to do. And there are people out there that love it. I'm still learning about it. I am investing in myself. So I've joined the VRA community with Sean Cannell to help me learn how to do this. So I am going to be popping up from time to time, hopefully weekly on a live, and ordinary, just short chats throughout. But the community I'd like to build is for mature women like myself that are in the same sort of situation, but also about getting back to doing creative projects, being creative. I'm not going to be a sewing channel, so don't panic, or a crochet channel, or I can't think of anything else, knitting channel. I do some of those things. Actually, I do a lot more of those things. I write poetry. donnab.co.uk is my website. So if you want to read any of my poetry, you can read it there. So anybody that does creative stuff, I leave all of that to the teachers, but the community that I want to build, and I will start a membership when I'm in the right place, where we can come together and we can bring projects that we've had lying around the house for ages, and we can sit and chat about all of this stuff and how we're doing for the week and that kind of thing, or the month. And then, we can finish projects and we can support each other. And the reason I start now is because I want you to understand that I'm being real now. I am in that place now where I am self-sabotaging, where my blood sugar level is high, where my weight has gained. And I want you to feel supported, that there is somebody out there like-minded that is happy to show up and be honest and be supportive throughout the rest of this year. I mean, we're coming up to Christmas, dare I say, but 2026 isn't that far away. And I truly believe that we need to be healthy going into 2026. So let me know what your struggles are. Leave a comment. What are you going to do to turn yourself around, starting now? And how can I be of help? So I look forward to seeing your comments and reading your comments. I will reply to everyone. So this is, what are we today? We're Wednesday, and the time is nearly 20 past 11. And I am going to go and do something to turn this around today. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to eat a healthy meal this evening. And I'm going to finish my cup of tea. So take care, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.